So I was trying to make that look cool, stepping up onto the rock to start the video, but it wasn't working. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and this week we're back in Wales. We're actually back in the Ogwen Valley, which is exactly where I spent last weekend. Yeah, we're at a place called Ogwen Falls, which are these incredible sort of series almost of waterfalls that you can see behind me. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to spend the next 15-20 minutes just wandering about this sort of gorgeous rocky area with my camera in hand and just see if I can figure out any compositions. But a couple of things that I want to talk about today in this video as well, so I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, just hoping for a nice chilled out afternoon of landscape photography. Right, I think I've found a worthy composition, or something worthy for me to get my camera out. Gorgeous scene here behind. We've actually got Trefan off there right in the distance, which remember I got that photograph of last year, towards the end of last year, and it's nice to shoot it from a different angle. And actually the video from last week, I was actually up there in the mountains and I saw it from an even different angle, but it really is a gorgeous mountain. It's got a beautiful profile. It's almost sort of a triangular or a dome shape. It is just beautiful, and it even looks nice from here. But you can see here we've got all these gorgeous waterfalls, series of waterfalls like I mentioned in the introduction, which all work perfectly to lead us up to that bridge and then up to Trefan. And I've just got to try and work with a few of these rocks down here at the bottom. Now, before we get set up, I wanted to talk about the other thing that I mentioned in the introduction, and that is that as of yesterday, for me yesterday, I've reached 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is just mind-blowing, absolutely mental. And I remember back in New Zealand when I was on 900 subscribers, and I was really proud of myself back then, and you know, rightly so. But yeah, 10,000, I've worked hard, you know, but it's been an incredible journey, and I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, really. Like, that's you that have got me to 10,000 subscribers, as obvious as that may sound. But it just really feels like things are starting to progress with my photography and with my YouTube channel, and like I say, that really is down to you guys, and for that I'm really grateful, honestly. Thank you so much. And you know, there's a lot of people that have definitely been commenting on my videos since back in the New Zealand days, which is crazy. So to you guys especially, thank you so much for the continued support. It really does mean the world. Yeah, but anyway, let's get into some landscape photography, shall we? So nicely set up for shot number one of the day, and it's alright, you know, it's not too bad considering we're shooting in the middle of the day, and it's quite messy. It's not really the sort of location I'd come to, really, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to come here today, is just to challenge myself a little bit. You know, I feel quite comfortable taking photographs from the top of a mountain. I feel comfortable on the coast, or if I've got some sort of water in my foreground, you know, by a lakeside or something. But this sort of location, you know, it's quite busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of rocks, a lot of trees. It's not just one simple waterfall. We've got a bridge, you know, man-made subject as well, and we've got a mountain in the back. There's loads going on, but I'm trying to use that to my advantage in this photograph, and I'm trying to, I suppose, use the depth to my advantage. So what I'm doing is I've got this big rock here right down in the foreground. I've got that in my frame, and that's in the sort of bottom right hand third almost, and I'm using that to almost anchor the image and anchor the composition, and then that in turn then leads us up into them beautiful waterfalls, and then obviously then into the bridge there, which is on the left hand side of the frame, contrasted with the beautiful Trefan on the right hand side of my frame, and it's gorgeous because this one waterfall on the right hand side is really zigzagging its way up to the bridge and up to Trafan, which is just beautiful. So fairly happy with this. Now filters, I have got my 6-stop neutral density filter here right at the front, which is allowing me to get a shutter speed of 2.5 seconds, just to smooth out all that water there in the waterfalls and just add a little bit more to the photograph. I've also got my polarizer on, which is, when I look at the water, I'm seeing it through the glare from where I'm stood, and it's a sort of real deep black colour, and it's beautiful, and that's what I'm trying to capture by using the polarizer. And the polarizer is also helping to bring out a little bit of vibrancy in these greens, which is contrasting really, really well with the greys of all this slate and rocks and the bridge and Trafan. So nice little colour contrast there as well. And then I've also got a 2-stop soft edge graduated neutral density filter on the front there as well, which is just bringing down that sky up there on Trafan. Every now and again there's a little bit of sunlight coming down and hitting Trafan, which is fantastic, but it also means that the highlights will be getting blown out up there, so that filter's doing fantastically to control them. ISO 100, f11, and like I said, that 6-stop ND filter is giving me a shutter speed of 2.5 seconds to give us that nice silky water. But yeah, nice little composition, and hopefully the image comes out alright. I wanted to show you this as well before I show you the shot. I don't know if you can see that there. Got this filter pouch a while ago now. What's the brand? Haida. I'll put a link to it in the description below, but it's the first time I've used it in a way that I've sort of had it buckled onto my belt, which is, honestly, I don't know what I've been doing all this time. It is class. I don't have to bend down to my bag to get my filters. I've got it here. Basically just using it the way it's meant to be used, but I'm not a very practical person, so that's why. But yeah, if you want to buy this, honestly, I'd recommend the pouch anyway. Get it strapped onto your belt. It's quality. Anyway, I hope you like this photograph. So it's actually growing on me a little bit, this location. I really like it, and you'll see something quite strange going on here if you watch me often. I'm shooting in portrait mode, but it's just one of those instances where it works really well. Now before, when I was down taking my first photograph, I said something like it's very busy, very messy, and I thought, what better way to get rid of all that mess than flip the camera around and shoot in portrait dimension, and that way, right from the bottom right to the top, I'm capturing only what I want to capture. There's not mess on the left and right hand side, and I just love the way it looks. Now before I get into the composition, I've got exactly the same filter set up on the front as I did with my first photograph. So that's the 2-stop soft edge ND grad, then I've got the 6-stop ND filter, then the polarizer, all doing exactly the same thing. They're on there for exactly the same reason. This time I'm shooting at 6 seconds. That's only because it's got a little bit darker since my first photograph. It's actually started drizzling a little bit. Conditions really are beautiful. f11, ISO 100, and my composition, I've changed lenses. My last photograph I had my wide angle lens on, shooting at about 14mm. This time I've got my 18 to 55 on, and it's looking about 40mm. So I'm zoomed in even a little bit more, so even more so than being in portrait dimension. I'm actually capturing just what I want to photograph, and it's working really well. Same concept with the composition in many ways. I'm still using these waterfalls to lead the eye up into Trafan, and at the minute we've got a beautiful sky, quite foreboding. We've got a real nice contrast between some low stormy skies and quite a bright section of high altitude clouds off there in the distance, obviously. But yeah, it's looking really nice. I'm going to grab that shot now. Whilst that sky is looking particularly nice up there, it's really nice. It's just a sort of section of low cloud that's just settled on the top of Trafan, which is just beautiful. Let's see how that looks. Histogram's looking bob on. Absolutely beautiful. of a sudden we have just had some beautiful light up here in the background, or sorry, behind me, where I was literally just taking that shot. There's the falls there, and I sort of turned around and we had this beautiful glow up in the mountains just as the sun was coming down. We're just seeing the end of it now because it was all a bit frantic, but it was absolutely stunning. Just this sort of golden yellow light hitting all these beautiful peaks, and it was creating some amazing contrasts. Bearing in mind we're in the middle of the day here as well. The weather in Wales and anywhere we get hills like this is just magnificent. So I literally turned my camera around 180 degrees, still on the tripod. This is exactly where I just took this last shot, and sort of zoomed in a little bit. I had the right lens unfortunately, and I took a couple of shots. Don't know if they're going to come out alright. ISO 100, f11, 1/80th of a second, and somehow it was managing to deal with the sort of huge dynamic range that we had from the sky down into the mountains, because I just took all my filters off as well, and I just didn't have time to shove them all on. So I've got a feeling at least one of them opportunistic photographs are going to be half decent, so I'll stick one up for you guys to see now. And then I just wanted to talk briefly about something before I go. So yeah, I hope at least one of those shots came out alright, and it's been a decent little day actually, and I think that image actually brings me on quite nicely to this topic that I wanted to talk about briefly. It's just about shooting in the middle of the day. I think a lot of the times, I remember when I was starting out, I was reading so much about shooting at sunset and the benefits of shooting during the golden hour, and I think it is true to a massive extent. Like, you must not be under any illusions. The golden hour and the sunrise and sunset period are just generally the best times to shoot, in my opinion anyway. They really, really are beautiful and really inspiring. But what I'd really like to get across is that doesn't mean there isn't the opportunity for good photographs at any other period during the day, or even the blue hour or the night. But shooting during the day in particular, especially in places like this, you've just seen it there firsthand, you can get some incredible conditions. And it really got me thinking on the drive here to Wales actually. If I was going to rank my photographs, my top 3 images, which I'll stick up on the screen somehow now, weren't taken during the golden hour or sunrise or sunset. There's the shot of the Three Sisters, which is moody, beautiful stormy skies. I really managed to capture the emotion of that landscape. And then there's my shot of Travan, which is this mountain that we've been shooting today, but a bit further back into the Ogwen Valley. Again, that was shot during the blue hour, no sunrise, sunset or golden hour. And then an older image that was actually taken in New Zealand in Mount Cook National Park on my Nikon D30-100, and it was quite similar to this actually. It really reminded me of it, how we just all of a sudden had some beautiful light. That was on a much bigger scale, but again, middle of the day. And I guess those 3 images have one thing in common, and that is mountains. So it kind of goes to show that, especially if you're in the mountains like this, do not limit yourself to just golden hour or sunrise and sunset. And I think as well, as landscape photographers, we're already quite limited, aren't we? Like, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are the same as me. I work full time. I work Monday to Friday. This isn't my full-time job. I'd like it to be one day, but for now I'm already very limited. I'm limited to 2 days a week where I can actually get out and completely focus on my landscape photography. And I'd say that's a lot of days compared to a lot of you guys that are watching as well with other commitments. But yeah, it's not good to limit ourselves even more by saying, I'm only going to go out and shoot during the golden hour. But like I say, I hope that was a good example. Anyway, I'm nattering on a bit now, but thank you so much for watching. And again, I'm absolutely delighted. I'm feeling really proud to have hit 10,000 subscribers, and it's all down to you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Nothing else to say really. I'm currently halfway through creating my website, which is something I'm really excited about. It's taken a while because I want to make sure it's right, so I'm looking forward to releasing that to you guys and showing you all the work that I've put in with that. But again, thank you so much for the support. If you're new, please subscribe. One more thing before I go, absolute chatterbox, but one more thing. Next week I'm going to France for about 9 days, and it's not for landscape photography. However, of course, all the gear will be coming with me, and I'd like to do one video out there actually, and maybe just 1 or 2 little spots of landscape photography. So I want to ask you guys, please comment below the video. This would be wonderful, just for any cool locations for landscape photography. I'm really getting the ferry over to Calais from Dover, and I'm just doing a road trip around France. I could end up anywhere, coastal, maybe if you're going to talk about the Alps, maybe don't, because I don't mean that in a rude way, but obviously I know the Alps are beautiful and I'll probably go on the fringes of the Alps somewhere, but anywhere else that you would recommend, that would be awesome. So apologies for being a bit of a chatterbox there, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week on the next adventure. Out.